The Championship, why would you ever try and predict the Championship? Because it's literally impossible. That's what everyone says. But I'm going to try and predict the Championship. 24th place, Derby County. 13 contracted players, 2 of them are injured. 1 of them was injured by your own manager. Also injured for several months as well. And you have to, I mean, I don't, but you have to kind of feel sorry for Wayne Rooney because he's in an impossible situation. How on earth could even Pep or Klopp get out of this situation? I don't see anyone being able to handle it. You've got rid of 11 players, Martin Waghorn being the main name that I can notice that you've got rid of, meaning your only real striker is Kazim Richards. You're in the mud, quite frankly. 23rd place, Huddersfield Town. 71 goals last season, the most in the entire division. They have made a few moves to try and improve that. Matty Pearson coming in from Luton. A strong, solid centre-back to get around. Josh Ruffles, no experience in the Championship from Oxford, but he should be a good addition. But I also think they're going to struggle going forward because Josh Koroma is the only real threat for me in that team going up front. They have signed Jordan Rhodes, but he hasn't been that prolific at all in his last few seasons at Sheffield Wednesday. And Josh Koroma as well spent a long time of last season out injured. How are you going to replace him if he gets injured again? 22nd place, Peterborough United. Now Peterborough, they're well known for being a very strong attacking side. Johnson Clark-Harris, 31 goals last season in League One. Also, Siriki Dembele, one of their talisman, up-and-coming young players like Ricky J. Jones as well. They've got players like Ethan Hamilton in midfield. They've signed players like Josh Knight and George Grant. So they have got a good team building and forming. But I do worry that defensively, they are going to struggle because last season they conceded 46 goals, the most out of any of these promoted sides. But here's the interesting part. As I said, their attack's good. They scored 83. You see what I'm coming at? This is why I think they're going to go down, because they scored a lot of goals, but they conceded 46 in League One. So if they're going to concede 46 in League One, how many are they going to concede in the Championship? And can they really keep outscoring teams in a better division? Because that's clearly their tactic, outscore the opposition, because we aren't that strong defensively. I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. 21st place, the League One champions, Hull City. I think they'll stay up, they're under a transfer embargo, so that really isn't going to help them out at all. They do need to strengthen. I do worry that going forward, a bit like the opposite of Peterborough really, going forward they will struggle at times. Josh McGuinness, fantastic season in League One last time out. Tom Evans, have I said his name right? It's not spelled Evans traditionally. They're their main strikers. I just worry that that isn't going to be enough. They can still get players in on loan and for free though. The likes of Andy Cannon, George Moncure, experienced last season with Luton in the Championship and the year before that. And also Ryan Longman has come in as well. On to Blackpool. I think 20th is about right for Blackpool. I think they'll do pretty well. Neil Critchley in his first season as a manager gets promoted. That's impressive in itself. But I think ultimately what it comes down to with newly promoted sides, and especially the playoff winner, is their big name players stepping up. And we look at players like Kenny Dougal and Jerry Yates, how they stepped up in the playoffs, which is, I'm not going to lie, the most I saw Blackpool play last season, which I'm sure it is for most people. To survive in a division like the Championship or any division, you need your big names to step up when it really matters. So if those two in particular can continue doing that, they'll have enough in my opinion. Plus the fact I rate their business in the transfer market. Callum Connolly from Everton, Daniel Grimshaw from Man City. These are both permanent transfers as well. Reece James at left back, already adding to 2 very strong options in James Husband and Luke Garber. Like, I wish I could say that about Forest having 3 good left backs. John Jules from Arsenal, the fact that his main rival at striker, Jerry Yates, has also stayed, that's like a new signing in itself, really. They've also got Richard Keogh in. I'm not sure about that one. Alright, 19th place, Coventry City. I've dropped them off a little bit from when I did my early predictions. I think their squad arguably could be a little bit weaker than it was last season at times. However, I think attacking-wise, that is what's going to save them. We look at the likes of Godden, Tyler Walker, now they've got Martin Waghorn. There are 3 Championship-proven strikers and a fantastic set of strikers nonetheless as well. And not only the fact that they've got good striking options, they've got Callum O'Hare in behind. Now this is a player that could quite easily leave Coventry whenever he wants to go to a even better team, maybe even a Premier League team one day. So I think their attacking options is what's going to save Coventry. 18th place, I have gone for Bristol City. 12 players have gone out the door and only 3 have come in. That's a bit of a concern for a team that had an absolutely shambolic end to last season. And that right there is another reason why I think they're going to struggle, because when you're in a losing mentality, it's hard to get out of it. And okay, yeah, there's been about 2-3 months since the season ended, but so what? You saw with Forest a few years ago, obviously we missed out on the playoffs that season. We were terrible last year, but the year before we missed out on the playoffs, we had a great end to it. The start of the next season, we were a promotion level side, you know? So a good end to the season is vital, and Bristol City did not have that at all. Andy King, Matty James and Rob Atkinson are the 3 players they have brought in. Atkinson, a young lad who is obviously going to get better from Oxford last season, he ultimately missed out winning the playoffs. James and King, you could potentially say that that's kind of a bit of a backwards transfer, because they're not really going to get any better. They're kind of towards the end of their careers, so I think given the fact they're not bad players at all, I'll just make that clear, but given the fact that they've made those kind of transfers, it really isn't that inspiring in my opinion. 17th, Preston North End. For me, Preston and Bristol, they are so similar, it's ridiculous. If they play each other, it's got 0-0 written all over it. The last several months, a lot of big names have gone. Ben Pearson and Ben Davies. Ben Davies to Liverpool. He's not even kicked a ball there. Now, that's not Preston's fault, but they get rid of their star centre-back just for him to not play. It's annoying from their point of view. But then again, was he ever going to play for Liverpool? No, he wasn't. They've lost those kind of players, not really replaced them. Their transfer window really hasn't been that inspiring either. Liam Lindsley from Stoke, Matthew Olisud. You know me, I can't pronounce names properly, I'm stupid. I just needed it a bit more. And also going forward, I've seen a lot of people say this about Preston as well. I am a little bit concerned about that. You know, they do need to get a better striker in that you can full on guarantee to rely on in front of goal. And I just don't think they have that. 16th place, Reading. A massive drop off here, but you could say they're going back to type, because before last season, when they ultimately missed out on the playoffs, they had several seasons in between last season and when they lost the playoff final. They were just mediocre relegation battles, nothing special at all. And I could see them going back to that because they're under a transfer ban. They've had to sell their star player Michael Elise to Crystal Palace for £8 million. They could be having to sell Josh Laurent, their player of the year, to a team like Forest, who aren't going to do much special this year, most likely. Omar Richards, of course, has gone to Bayern Munich. And again, you're going to get good money for it, but you're losing one of your star players just for him to most likely hardly kick a ball at Bayern Munich, but like Ben Davies at Preston. When you're under a transfer ban, you can normally still sign at least loan players and players for free. Reading haven't even done that. 15th, I've gone for Birmingham, and I feel this is a little bit of a regular theme, to be quite honest. Birmingham always tend to come in these reams of the table. I do feel there is a bit more of a positive vibe about Birmingham right now under Lee Bowyer. They had quite a strong end to it, however they did lose their last game 5-2, which isn't encouraging. Birmingham always tend to end seasons well though, and ultimately end up doing very, very little the next season, so I could see that happening again. They haven't got a bad team, but I do kind of feel like they rely way too much on Djukovic, their striker. Can he continue to have that pressure on him all the time? I think he needs someone to help him out. 9 players out, but 7 in. The likes of Tyus Chong has come in on loan from Man United. That's a really smart bit of business from the Blues there. Also, Ryan Woods has also joined from Stoke, so they have been pretty busy. 14th, Blackburn. They now have an international footballer who's played at the Copa America in Ben Brereton Diaz. Is that his actual name? No, it isn't, but we'll call him that. But jokes aside, I think that experience at the Copa America, literally playing against players like Lionel Messi, you may have heard of him, that's only going to help him and Blackburn push on. If he's played against calibre of players like that, he literally scored at the Copa America. Like, for God's sake, this guy's no mug. Defensively, they struggled massively last season. They had to rely, a bit like, as I mentioned with Peterborough, they had to rely on outscoring teams. And I do worry that they're going to have to keep doing that again this season if they want to try and finish in any form of reasonable position, because they haven't improved a poor defence, you know. And going forward, they could very well be losing Adam Armstrong to Watford or even Southampton. It looks like he's going to stay at least for now. They've also lost Harvey Elliott as well, who had a great standout season for Blackburn last time out. So this is why I think Blackburn aren't really going to progress much further. 13th. This may be a bit of a surprise, but I'm also surprised about how many people have put us so high up. So this gave me an excuse to do the same thing. Nottingham Forest. We may not have signed hardly any players at all. There's, at the time of recording, 3 days until the season starts, and we haven't signed an outfield player. I think the signing of Ethan Horvath was definitely needed, an international experienced goalkeeper with Bruges as well at club level. He's played in the Champions League and Europa League. I think he will really push Samba to his best. I don't really see him playing. But the fact that we've now got 2 fantastic goalkeepers, and you look further forward in the pitch, we have got 2 of the best centre-back partnerships in the entire league. Scott McKenna, okay, it was with Scotland, he only played 1 game, but he went to the Euros, you know, Scott McKenna and Joe Wall. Fullbacks, yes, we're very weak there. That could be where we struggle. And you also have to remember players that were on loan last season and now back in that will play a big part. Brennan Johnson, João Carvalho. Straight away, there's our attacking midfield issue sorted out. Those 2 I think could play a huge part, and they can both play on the wing, particularly Johnson. Mighton. Looking further back as well, we've got MB Soe. I've got a lot of exciting young players coming through, Jordan Gabriel. And we know that Graben and Taylor had poor years last time out, but all they need is a bit of self-belief and confidence, and under a full bit of pre-season, I do think that they could come good. And yeah, we need a striker, but they're still proven championship strikers regardless. We know that. So if they can come good, we don't need a striker. Having said that, we still should sign one. Right, so I'm a world-class idiot. I forgot to talk about Barnsley, who I put in 12th. How on this planet, when you're doing a prediction video, do you forget to talk about an entire team? And I've only just noticed now, like, as I'm editing it, I didn't even know as I was going along. I didn't even talk about them. Yep. Smart. Well done, David. But we improvised. I'm going to do it this way. It's different. Plus I can show up a New Forest shirt. So, you know, that's my excuse. Anyway, Moet and Ishmael leaving is huge. I'm finally saying Ishmael's name correctly as well. But I don't think it's the end of the world. They still have plenty of quality in that team. Styles, Woodrow, Britton, you know, Collins, Heelick. That team still has lots of quality in it. I don't see them going from 5th to just a relegation scrap. Mark Schopp, it's not how you say his name, as their new manager. I know very little about him. I don't really know what to make of him. We'll just wait and see with that one. But I don't think Barnsley are going to drop off too much. They won't be as good. It was a bit of a miracle that got the playoffs in the first place, let's face it. They've also lost Connor Chaplin to Ipswich, which I really can't get my head around. Why on earth have they sold him to League One? Is there more that we don't know about that one? Barnsley fans, if you're watching, can you shed any light on it? Because I really can't get my head around that one. Also, incomings, they've got Devante Colin from Motherwell. She's not doing too badly, to be honest. But other than that, there's nothing really you can say about Barnsley. I just think it'll be about a mid-table finish. In 11th, I've gone for Millwall. I just think it's going to be another very standard year, to be honest. I don't really have much to say about them. I do think the signing of Berke Fobe is a very smart bit of business. He can be injury prone. He's a bit of a journeyman as well. Wolves, Bristol City, Stoke. He's been to Turkey recently as well. What Millwall have lacked for a long time, though, is a proven goal scorer. You know, they have Jed Wallace, of course. They've got George Saville back now in their midfield as well. They've not got a bad defence, really, but I do think they just needed a proven striker, and they have now got that. If he can get going, I think he'll play a massive part in how good Mill will do this season. 10th place, Swansea City. They've got a new manager in, Russell Martin from MK Dons, only 1 year of managerial experience as well. Didn't really do that much special either, coming in 13th place in League One. And then when you really deep it, they've lost Steve Cooper, they've lost Andre Ayew, possibly Matt Grams to Fulham, they've lost Woodman. That is like, how many is that? Maths. 4 big names out the door, and they haven't truly replaced them. Joel Pereira, that's not how you say his name, from PSV. Can he really fill the boots of Andre Ayew? We'll wait and see on that one. Liam Walsh, Callum Joseph from Wigan, who's a 19-year-old youngster. It isn't that inspiring at all from Swansea. However, I do still think they have got the quality to have a solid year, but not quite as good. I do think it's going to be a bit of a backwards year, but nothing major. 9th place, Luton Town. They're slowly but surely becoming a real hot prospect in the Championship that you don't really want to play. You can't look at Luton now and think, it's Luton, you know, we'll easily beat this lot. Not at all. Not at all. I thought last season they improved massively. Another year under Nathan Jones. They have lost, obviously, Drewsbury Hall and James Collins. That could be quite a major hit. But I don't think it's going to affect them too badly. I just think they can have nice, steady progress yet again. They've made a few good transfers as well. Henry Lansbury, Reece Burke, Amari Bell. Just to name but a few, to be quite honest. They've done quite a bit of business. I just think Luton will progress yet again this season, and they're slowly but surely becoming a very stable club in the Championship. 8th place, Stoke City, a club that was plagued with injuries last season, and ultimately that is what made them yet again fall well short of expectations. Tyrese Campbell's injured for half the season. With him back available, they've made some good signings as well. I think Mario Vrancic is a fantastic bit of business. Probably have said his name slightly wrong, but you know me. Proven Championship attacking midfielder right there. Free kick, set piece taker. Absolutely brilliant bit of business there from Stoke. Why don't Forest try and go after him? That would have been class. Sam Surridge as well coming in at striker. I think that's a really nice bit of business. He can try and put a bit of pressure on the likes of Stephen Fletcher. 6th place, Middlesbrough. Bit of a surprise potentially because they've got Neil Warnock. He is literally the Championship. They made huge progress under him last season after he, obviously in his first year towards the end of it, kept them out of League One, of course. I like their business though. Very, very Neil Warnock-esque signings. The likes of Amiobi from Forest, of course, Matt Crooks, Ikpenzu. You know, these are classic Neil Warnock signings, but I think they will work. If Neil Warnock gets the players he wants, you know it's going to work out. They've lost their captain, Britt Sonvalonga, to Turkey for free. And like I just said earlier, George Savile has gone back to Millwall. But I do think ultimately they will fall short because in 6th place, I've gone for Cardiff City. Every year they've been back in the Championship, I've backed them to get the playoffs. They've only got it once. They fell short ultimately last season, coming in 8th. Inconsistency and a very lacklustre start to the season is what cost them. Under Mick McCarthy, we saw quite clearly that there's progress there and that their team was underperforming. They've already got Kiefer Moore, who's their talisman, and they have now got 2 brilliant strikers. James Collins, what a fantastic set of strikers that is. Kiefer Moore, and if he isn't on form, James Collins, a proven striker at this level now with Luton. I absolutely love that transfer. They should get top 6 in my opinion quite easily. Great squad, good business, good manager. In 5th place, I fell for it. I fell for the trap. Everyone's doing it. I've gone for Queen's Park Rangers. But no, why should I be worried about that? Rightly so. They are the in-form team. The form they have been on this year is just absolutely phenomenal. It really does appear that Mark Warburton is finally getting his formula and his tactics working out now and getting a really nice, finely balanced squad there. We've got some great business as well from QPR. Dozzell, Johansson permanently in. Charlie Austin, 7 goals at the half of last season that he played for QPR. Sam Field is also back in permanently from West Brom. Great signings. Jimmy Dunn from Burnley as well. Great business, great form. They're heading in the right direction 100%. I just don't see a world in which QPR don't at the very least challenge for the entire year. 4th place, Sheffield United. Maybe a bit too low. I did put them first in my early predictions, but I've since realised and thought about it a bit more. I think they might start a little bit slowly, but ultimately they will really catch on in this, maybe like the second half of the season. I don't see them like being, bottom end at any stage of the season, but I could see them just having a bit of a slow start because you have to get out of that losing mentality. The squad is pretty much the same as what it was last year. Obviously, no Chris Wilder now. They've got Jukanovic, a manager that's been there and done it before, with Fulham, of course. I think it's a fresh lease of life under him, for sure. That could also just wipe out the bad blood from last season. Obviously, they've got rid of John Lundstrom, but he was always going to leave. They haven't really done that much business at all. I haven't even made any notes about the signings that they've made, so I just think their squad is already stacked full of enough talent to, at the very least, get the playoffs. Will they go up again? Well, we'll see. In my opinion, they won't, because this team in 3rd will be the playoff winners, Bournemouth. Bournemouth are interesting, because last season I feel they were finding the feet. They had, obviously, Jason Tyndall and Jonathan Woodgate, a lot of change after so many years of Eddie Howe. They had several spells where they were losing and several spells where they were winning. It was never really like win, lose, draw, win, just inconsistent. It was either winning all the time or losing all the time. I think they'll be a lot more consistent this year and they'll ultimately do a lot better. I could easily see them getting the top 2, I won't lie. But I've just put them out because of the teams above them. Pretty much the same squad, another year's worth of experience. They've still got Danjuma and Billing as it stands. They've both been linked with moves away. I think Bournemouth will be right up there this time and be a much stronger threat. 2nd place, West Bromwich Albion. At the time of recording, they've still got Mateus Pereira, but he is being linked with a move away to numerous clubs. Currently, Saudi Arabia, which is a bit of a waste of talent in my opinion. Obviously, they've got Ishmael there now as their new manager. Alex Mowat has followed him, and their attack, oh my god. It is loaded. Even without Pereira, it is loaded. Robinson, Carlon Grant, he may not have had the best first season, but we know how good he is at championship level, and I really do think he could, you know, kickstart his career finally at West Brom this season. Zahor, Phillips, Grady Diangana, Snodgrass. That attack is absolutely loaded. Defensively as well, very strong and solid. Furlong, Bartley. Sam Johnston, as it stands, is still going to be their goalkeeper. They should easily get out this division. First place, the champions, Fulham. Pretty easy to put them there. I know I've swapped them and Sheffield United around if you saw my early addition to this, but I've realised I was being a little bit stupid. Marco Silva, he's a bit of a journeyman. Obviously, he's been at Everton, Watford, Hull, now he's at Fulham. Dropping down as well to the Championship, but I think for the good of his career and for the good of Fulham, it's a great move. As it stands, they've still got Mitrovic, and I know he didn't have the best year in the Premier League, but we know full well what he can do in the Championship. Tom Kearney looks like he's going to stay as well. They've obviously got Anthony Knockaert back, who didn't have the best year at all, really, at Forest, from a Forest fan's point of view as well. But he could be a great super sub with better players around him as well. I think he'll do better. And if they can keep hold of the likes of Zambo and Gisa, that's just unfair. Rodak. And not just Rodak, they've got Gazaniga, you know, great goalkeeper from Spurs. Harry Wilson, his championship written all over him, he has. And he probably is a player that could play in the Premier League. But my God, he's been at Derby, he's been at Bournemouth, in the Prem, Cardiff, now he's at Fulham permanently. Finally, he's got a permanent home. Great business. Their squad's just too good, man. It's too good. Right, so that is my championship predictions for the new season. I'm sure you've disagreed with every single minute detail of it. But if you have somehow enjoyed it, please drop a like on it. And at the very least, consider subscribing to the channel because it really would make a massive difference. It does go a very long way. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Thank you.